Good evening and welcome to episode 39 of the Tales of Sigmar Podcast. As always, I am your host, Chalmers, and alongside me is Martin. Good evening, Martin.
Good evening, Chalmers, and how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Are you good?
I'm alright. I'm full of cold, so if my voice sounds a bit odd, apologies. But other than that, all good.
I'd rather it be cold than COVID, so that's the...
As far as I'm aware, we're definitely in the cold territory.
And even though we're in the middle of summer and it is stupidly humid, I don't know how you've caught that, but yeah.
Having 2 children under the age of 6.
True. But haven't you all been stuck in the house?
No, they're back at nursery.
That'll be what it is then. It's
Yeah.
those months of not being at nursery that you've kind of thought that you were strong, and then they've just brought back all of Nurgle's plague.
Exactly.
So in this episode, we're going to be going through the General's Handbook 2020, mainly the match play sections. We won't kind of go for open play or anything like that because we kind of do more focus on the match play. We're also going to go for our Lumineth Lists, so if you are still with us after the 4-hour mega episode last time, congratulations. Thank you to everyone who kind of got in contact and said that they really enjoyed it as well. It's always good to hear because I was a little bit worried that we'd gone on a bit too long, but I had a few people say actually it was really good to kind of hear our thoughts of how rules could be used, etc. So that's always a bonus, and hopefully we'll have the Sons of Beermat to do soon. I don't know how long soon is.
We keep saying soon. It feels like we've been saying that for about 6 months now.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think the next few weeks is going to be 40k centric. I had a very slight hope that next Saturday would be the pre-order for them, because I thought, 40k launch, they won't do anything else for 40k pre-orders. They might just slip in a 1 week Sons of Beermat pre-order, but it looks like nothing's up for pre-order next week. So it looks like they're just focusing on 40k at the minute, which I can understand why, but I hope that we don't get forgotten about for too long.
No, I'm sure we'll be back and then we'll be saying it's too fast and asking them to slow down. So I'm really excited for what's coming. We know Sons of Beer are coming, but then actually post that, it's a bit of a black hole, really.
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of everyone says, oh well, maybe Nurgle and Ideneth will get a new book to bring them back up to, well, not bring them back up to par because obviously Ideneth are still up there, but
I think Nurgle will be soon as well.
Yeah, they'll get book rewrites to kind of fit properly in with AOS at the minute. That's a potential, but like you said, apart from that, I think 2021 is going to be almost like a blank slate for AOS to do whatever they want. I expect we'll see new Stormcast, and I expect next summer might be AOS 3.0. Kind of fits. It's about 3 years. It would be 3 years since the last launch, so yeah, maybe we'll get the new Stormcast chamber and another new faction. Who knows?
Would be good.
But yeah, we're going to talk about General's Handbook this episode, go through the Lumineth lists, and then we'll just talk about hobbies. So it's going to be a nice, we always say quick episode, it's always 2 hours, so we'll just see how we do. So there's no news, so let's just jump straight in with the General's Handbook. And there's been a few rules changes, which is nice. The big one, I think, is going to be the wound save rule. And this basically means that you cannot have more than one after save to negate a wound or a mortal wound. So things like, I'm thinking of my my Vermin Lord Warpseer that had a 5-up save, and then it had the lucky Warpstone pendant or whatever it is that gave it another 5-up save, and then I was on mystical terrain that had a 6-up save. I tanked, I think it was 40 odd mortal wounds against evocators over combat. That's all gone, which it's understandable, to be honest. Speeds up the game, I think.
Yeah, it's interesting. It still lets you do a reroll, but I can't think off the top of my head that many armies that have got a reroll on mortal, like after wound saves.
The only one that I can properly think of, is Witch Elves, where if you're in Hagnar, you can get a 5-up rerollable.
Yeah.
If you're within a certain range of the Cauldron. Again, that's another book that might get another update because that needs to all be wholly within, and all the Canaries need to drop down by turn 3, etc. So daughters might get a little bit of an update.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you cannot make more than one dice roll, excluding rerolls, to negate a wound or mortal wound that has been allocated to a model. So I quite like it. I think it helps. Like I said, it kind of helps some of the lesser armies that don't have that anyway, because they're not just fighting save after save after save. And then I think it just reins in some of the armies that can get the multiple saves. And like I said, it kind of speeds it up as well, which is always a bonus.
Yeah, no, I think it's really good. I must admit, when I first read it, I read it as you could only do one or the other. As in, I don't know whether it's still like this in 40k, but it used to be like this in 40k, where you either had a save or an invuln save. And I kind of thought it was going down that route, which I thought was pretty extreme. But even then, I was like, speeds up the game, means there's going to be a lot more dead. When I realised it was the after wound saves only, I think it doesn't affect as many as initially thought, but I think it's going to stop those really bad play experiences where, like you say, you've got something that's just tanking more wounds. Yeah. You just can't get through it.
Yeah, it's I'm interested to see how it does play out. I think still armies like Fire Slayers and that have that just the 1/4 up save. I'm thinking Hearthguard Berserkers are still going to be the solid unit that they always were. I think things like potentially Nurgle and like I said, kind of Skaven that can get a multiple, that will probably not nerf them a bit, but it will just rein them in a little bit, because it is a bit boring when you're just rolling save after save after save and going, well, yeah, you did nothing to me. Death it might do a little bit, but I mean, Flesh Eaters it definitely hurts, because you can't get a Ghoul King on Terrorgeist now with a 5-up ignore save from the spell and then the 6-up death save. But apart from that, I mean, there weren't that many armies that had multiple save after saves, but
no, and I always wonder whether they put these rules in advance, whether or not there's something coming that they kind of put this in to stop it. But anything that speeds up the game, I think, is good.
Yeah, definitely. And the other one, which is the big one so we're talking about 2,000 point battle host armies. You are limited to 3 endless spells now. So you no longer can play all of those stupid endless spell lists with 8 or 9 or 10 endless spells where you just control the whole board, block off lots of lanes, and then just cause havoc. Which is a shame, because they were quite fun.
I was going to say, I'm not a big fan of this limitation. I did like those endless spell lists, because it just added another dynamic to the game. It meant that, you had to think when you were writing lists, can I really afford to go to battle without any magic to dispel these?
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a different tactical game. It was controlling space. It wasn't necessarily just charge across the battlefield and kill what's in front of you. It was actually tactics.
Often, palisades and the thing.
I can see why it's a negative play experience if people turn up without any magic and they just get, they can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Again, it's kind of like, do you argue that in a competitive setting, actually, you should consider that, and therefore you should bring something, or do you just accept that that's just something that you shouldn't have?
Yeah, I can't see it affecting many lists. It's like I said, it was a kind of a very niche list that you normally had that was there. It does get rid of that Idoneth one that I said a couple of episodes ago with 2 Eidolons and 3 Tidecasters and.
Yeah, and I was thinking of doing something similar. Well, not to quite the same extent, but something with Techless, with quite a few endless spells in there. Kind of limits that, but it's fair enough.
Yeah, it is what it is. But the next one is the Triumph. So they've got rid of some of the Triumphs, and there's only 3 of them now, I think.
Yep, we're down to 3.
We're down to 3. So there is now Inspired, so you can, once per battle, pick a unit and they can reroll hits until the end of that phase, in either shooting or fighting. Bloodthirsty, you can reroll the wounds, or Indomitable, so you can reroll saves, and that's it. So it's like, it is what it is. I think it's I never really use triumphs anyway. I always try and build to 2,000 points on the nose if I can. And then the times I normally get a triumph, I always forget it anyway. So
Yeah, I think the only thing this really affects is KO, who obviously had their
Yeah, of
8th in
course.
gold for their triumphs, but you've got the reroll hits, and
Yeah.
at the end of the day,
Nine times
that's
out
what
of
they
10,
tended
yeah.
to use the most.
reroll hits or reroll wounds. It's not exactly.
Yeah.
It's not hard. So yeah, it is. I wonder whether it has been used for that. Like it's been cut down because of KO, because they had those extra ones as well. But like you said, I mean, 9 times out of 10 you are using the hits. So like I said, for me, I always forgot them anyway. So it's it is what it is. But let's go into the missions, because those are the ones that everyone cares about, and those are the ones that we care about, because those are the ones we're going to be playing for the next year. So big ones first: the relocation orb and duality of death are gone. I don't think anyone's going to miss relocation orb.
I used to like it. Again, it was one of those
It was
ones.
a fun one down the club, but at a tournament it never worked. Even the reworked version, it was just too random.
Yeah, I can see both sides of the argument. I think on one hand, I think you wouldn't want it as game 5. I think
Yeah.
you don't want your
Game 5
your,
relocation orb for the tournament.
yeah, it's never good. That game 1 or 2, where I think you're up against somebody who could be of a totally different skill set to you, because you haven't progressed through the rounds yet. I think it's a bit of a leveler. But yeah, it's gone. People clearly didn't like it, so sad to see it go.
Yeah. And duality of death it's an okay one. I quite enjoyed playing that, but I suppose like there is 3 places of arcane power still, so it's not like we've really lost a hero scoring one.
I think I only ever played Duality of Death once.
Oh, okay. Fair
I can
enough.
only ever remember playing it once, and I won, and I enjoyed it. But yeah, it's not one that seemed to come up that often.
No. So, I mean, they've taken 2 out, but they've added 2 brand new missions, so I'm always up for that. I'd prefer
Keeps it
to
fresh.
I'd prefer to see newer missions out each version rather than just tweaked ones. So, no, taking 2 out and adding 2 in, I'm never going to complain about that. It's always good. So the first one, Knife to the Heart. So it used to be a L-shaped deployment across the whole battlefield, where you had to be like 9 inches away.
Yeah.
It's now moved to a triangular deployment. So you're kind of quite a lot more limited on where you can deploy. I quite like it. I mean, Knife to the Heart is never really a mission that I liked playing anyway. I mean, it's definitely better than what it used to be when way back when it first launched. You have to have like units of 5 holding both objectives, and that was just awful. I think first place I took triple chicken, and I tabled my opponent and couldn't win the mission because I didn't have enough models to hold the objectives. And we both looked at each other. Well, this is pointless.
Yeah. Again, it comes down to you've got to write your list for the potential objectives, potential missions. I think one of the issues now is there are so many missions.
Yeah.
Whereas before you were picking from 6, maybe 12. You're now picking from potentially 18.
And I think, like, as we go through, we'll kind of talk even more about how, like, writing your list is going to become a lot more a bigger thing. Like, writing a list is always a big thing, but actually thinking about what you're putting in that list is going to become a bigger thing, because in certain missions in this book you now get extra victory points for having certain units near an objective you control. So, I think you're going to see some different lists, to say the least.
Which again is good. I think that the interesting thing for me with Knight of the Heart, I never liked the setup because I always found it like you ended up measuring and doing all that. But the actual territories, so again, they've reduced the size of the territories. It's not you're 9 inches away from the territory. It's the territories themselves have been reduced. Which for a couple of armies, not a lot, but there's a couple of armies out there where you get rules for being in your territory.
Yes. Yeah, so you're gonna play it a bit differently and deploy a bit differently to kind of benefit from that. So yeah, especially because, like you said, it kind of only goes up to halfway up on one corner and then goes all the way down to a tiny bit on the opposite corner. So it'll be interesting to see how people do change. But no, it's I quite like it. It's a nice change, but it's we're going to go through, so we may as well touch on it now. It looks like that kill points has been removed from every single mission, which I really like. So if neither person has a major victory, it no longer goes down to kill points and you get a minor victory. It's basically, there's a new thing called auxiliary objectives. They're a little bit like the what are they called? Secondary objectives? No, what do we call them?
Secondaries, yeah.
Yeah, secondary objectives.
Secret something. Secret Santa.
You can tell it's been like 4 months since we played the game. Yeah, like they're a bit like those. They're just a little bit more tweaked, and they're actually built into match play now. But basically now in every single mission, if you don't win on points, it's whoever's got the more auxiliary objectives than your opponent. You get a minor victory, and if you both don't complete the auxiliary objectives, or no one's got more, then it's a draw. So I think in tournaments you're going to see a lot more draws in games, I think. If no one's obviously won a major.
Yeah. I think it's something like Knives at Heart, where generally you... And I suppose it is quite good because previously, and you did this probably the last tournament we went to, I think it was, Knives to the Heart, you kind of go into it and you're like, right, I'm going to go for the minor victory.
Oh, that's when I played 40 Blight Kings game 1 with my Squiggle lunch. I was like, well, I'm not winning this.
Yeah, but you go into it and that's the mindset, isn't it? Let's go for a minor victory. It gives me a victory, but this is going to stop you from doing that because, you can't necessarily guarantee you're going to get those auxiliaries. So I think it kind of pushes you to go for it, which I think, again, is always a good thing. It's always good to be able to get players trying to get those major wins.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm just a little bit disappointed, and I don't know how tournaments are going to do it. Maybe they will do. I like the fact that secret missions were added on as tournament points as opposed to in-game points, which meant that you were able to differentiate. You're going to, again, get a lot of...
I think you'll still see auxiliaries used because, like, you're still choosing those, and if you score them, then great, and if not, you don't. Like, you can still do a 20-0 system.
Yeah.
In quotation marks.
Because I think it really helped to split, especially in the middle pieces where you, like 3 and 2, 2 and 3, or getting those extra points for different bits and pieces really helped differentiate, like, the standings.
Yeah. Definitely. So the next one is Total Conquest. This one has moved from the triangular deployment and is now opposite quarter deployment. You've got to deploy 9 inches away, so you still can be quite close to your opponent. But the big thing for this one is that this is one of the ones where you get extra victory points if you control an objective with a specific unit, and this one is a friendly leader unit within 6 inches if you control an objective. If a player controls an objective while there is a friendly leader unit within 6 inches of it, they score 1 additional victory point. So that's going to be one whereabouts I think you're going to see certain heroes pushing up, or you're going to see certain heroes staying on their home objectives to make sure that you're getting those extra couple of points.
Yeah, it's an odd one, isn't it? Because previously there was always one objective that was super close to your deployment and one objective that was a bit further away, which, if you went first, you kind of secured one early, and the other one you maybe go for a gamble, but you're giving up points if you take it and then they take it back. Whereas now you kind of the two objectives that aren't in territories, they're equidistant as such, so you kind of like, you can go for both, neither, and then they're not as close as they were. So I like that. I think it works really well.
Yeah, and the
leader thing is interesting.
The leader thing's interesting. The thing I'm thinking of is my Stonehorn army, where I've got all those big heroes on Stonehorns.
Stonehorn armies are going to really like this GHB.
Yeah, definitely. So they literally move up and go, well, I'm 10 models, so I'm holding this objective, and I get an extra point because I'm a leader. Your move.
Well, we're still to see the point changes, aren't we, for
Yes.
those guys? So it'll be interesting to see what they do there.
The question I have, and it will probably need an FAQ, is whether you can get more points if you have more leaders within 6. Because it doesn't say if there is any friendly leader unit within. It just says if there is a, they score 1 additional victory point. So if you have 3 leaders...
But you can only control it once. I think...
Yeah, you control. If a player controls an objective while there is a friendly leader unit within 6 of it, the leader doesn't have to control it. You just need to be within 6.
But you only get the point if you control the objective.
Yeah, they score 1 additional victory. But what I mean is, if you've got multiple leaders...
I know what you're saying, but I don't know. My grasp of the English language is poor, so...
Oh, snap.
We'll see what everybody else says.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it's probably only 1. You get 1 point if you've got...
I'm sure it's meant to be 1, but yeah, I can see people arguing the toss the other way.
I've got 4 heroes in front of this objective and I control it. So I get 4 points.
Yeah.
I think it will probably get FAQ'd, but we shall see. The next one, Battle for the Past. I like this change. So it's still up the table, which I don't mind about. But instead of that really annoying triangle from corner to a third of the table and then back down to the opposite corner, which was always a massive pain to try and measure out and try and get a proper straight line when you've got terrain everywhere. It's now just a whole third of the table, so you've got a bigger deployment zone. It's a lot easier to just deploy.
Because again, you talk about things like Stonehorn lists. Getting a Stonehorn at the tip of that triangle is impossible. So
yes.
You can't. Yeah, there's certain models that you just couldn't get that close. So no, I never played an army where it was a problem, but I appreciate that for some armies it was a pain, and I know some people struggle to get their entire army in those triangles.
I had which army was it? Was it my Skaven? My Skaven with 100 clan rats and all the big things. And it was just like, you're just trying to just basically chuck clan rats around everywhere, just hoping that they all fit.
Jam them all in.
Yeah. And someone's like, oh, are they stacked up? No, don't worry about it. They'll be moving in a minute anyway. But yeah, going up to a third of the table, especially, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of missions that are up the table anyway, because it's always a faff. And especially if you're on a middle table at a tournament and you're you have to keep walking around either side. But yeah, no, going to this, I prefer it. It means that you can get onto those side objectives a lot quicker as well. But so can your opponent. So it means you're going to be getting into combat quicker, etc. So I like it. Scoring is exactly the same. It's 1 point for yours, 2 points for the middles, and 4 points for your opponent. So nothing changes there, and there's no extra scoring, which I don't think it needs to for that one. Star Strike. So Star Strike has gone back to 3 positions rather than 12 different ones. I prefer this just because it does speed it up again. So many times you'd roll a 11 or a 3 or something like that, and you try and work out how many inches that is across. And
I'm torn on this one because
I could tell you're like,
Yeah, I did like. I know I never found a major issue once you got used to it, like working it out. But I did like the fact that because it was 2d6, generally it came in the middle.
Yes.
But you always had that chance it was going to go somewhere random. And obviously playing Eels for the majority of the last year, that's never been a problem for me. But again, for slower armies where you need to really plan a couple of turns ahead, I can see why they prefer this version. So
yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head there. Like, because it's 2d6 and the most obvious dice roll you're going to get a 7 that's bang in the middle, it makes it a little bit like you can almost just play down that central channel. And to me, that's not really that fun, if you know what I mean. Like, if the probability is, it's going to go down the middle, then like it's not exactly the greatest for me. I'd rather have it whereabouts it's a bit more spread out. I mean, you could still play in the middle and then get across to those other. You've only got 3 points that it could go, but
Yeah.
I like it. I think it does speed it up. I always hated trying to work out exactly where it went when they had all of those little dotted lines. I think even if they put a little kind of, say it was this many inches apart, that would have made it a lot easier to work out.
Yeah, they never will though, will they? Because they'll never say that it's a 6x4 table.
No, well, you say that. I've noticed in this that they do have a lot more measurements of objectives in certain parts.
They do, but never. There's never a set of measurements that says that it's that wide. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if maybe in next summer, if we get AOS 3, it will go down to the smaller table size. I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah, it kind of.
If 40k are doing it and it's a success, and it becomes the main thing, I think it will be a matter of time before it goes to that size. And I think a new edition would be the right time to do it. So I'm just going to quote now for our summer episode of 2021 when AOS 3.0 comes out. Come back to this. We're going to a smaller table size.
I'm going to say we're going bigger. 8x5.
8x5. Just throw every gaming shop out of the...
yeah.
Redesign all your tables. I think it will be a matter of time before...
Yeah, I mean, if it's a success in 40k and the tournament scene really pick it up, you'll start to see manufacturers starting to make mats that are that size. Then people will want their gaming tables the same size because a lot of people that play both. Yeah, it's logical, isn't it? Really.
I'll get my scalpel out and start cutting the club mats now then, and get ahead of the curve. No, I'm not cutting any of mine until it's properly official everywhere. So the next mission is Scorched Earth. I love this change that they've added. So basically, you cannot raise an enemy objective. So the objectives in your enemy zone, you cannot raise them and burn them if an enemy leader is within 6 inches of it. And you score an additional victory point if a friendly leader is within 6 inches of an objective that is raised. So I really like this, just for the fact that your opponent can stop you burning them. There's so many armies that could alpha strike you turn one and go, right, I'm burning that next turn.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like the concept, but I preferred it if it was battle line. I think there are too many leader missions, too many character heavy missions, and I think this is another one, isn't it, where you're essentially getting a little bonus for having leaders. So it means that you're going to have to start investing more and more points into leaders, which for some armies, they just take them naturally. But for others, again, you look at Lumineth that we talked about the other day, they're completely limited when it comes to that hero slot.
You've basically got the Stone Mage and the Cathala as a kind of additional,
the other 3 are all named characters, aren't they?
Yeah. 2. You've only got the Stone King and Teclis. Oh no, you've got Light of Thorin as well.
No. Yeah. Yeah. So again, it's kind of like I'm thinking a Deepkin also. Again, slightly selfishly, I'm thinking I've got 3 leaders at most. 2 are very squishy.
And it's all about the low time meta now.
Well, yes, so it's a low time meta, isn't it? So I hear
7 points is
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how that changes things. Again, it keeps it fresh, mixes it up. But you've already got a couple of missions in there where you can only score with leaders. Yes. So
I think you'll see a lot of people forget about the rule that enemy leaders stop you raising objective, and you'll go
I'm sure for the first couple of months,
pile everything in, charge it all in, and go right, I'm going to burn, and then your opponent goes, no, you're not, and then they kind of the realization of what's going to happen, and I think it will also happen, or about you'll burn objectives while having a enemy hero next to it, and everyone completely forgets about it. So I think it'll go both ways. The next one is focal points.
Before you move on, though, they've also changed the way in which you play. So previously you were going left to right, and now you're going front and back. So you're no longer going up and down the table.
Were you? What, for Scorched Earth?
Yep.
Ah,
I'm looking at 2019. Scorched Earth went left and right.
I did not notice that. That shows you how many times I've played Scorched Earth. I actually can't. Oh yeah, so they did. Yeah, you had half the table for Scorched Earth.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so that's another change as well. Yeah, I can't remember the last time I've played Scorched Earth, even at a tournament. I can't remember. I don't think I've ever played Scorched Earth at a tournament. I think I've played it maybe once at the club.
I think I've played it a couple of times at tournaments, but not very often.
But
I know a lot of people don't like it because of the burning objectives, etc. But I think they've put enough bits and pieces in to slow it down. Because you used to do it on turn 1, didn't you? You used to just run across the board and burn. That was it.
I think it was always from the start of the second battle round, but I think because you could get across turn 1 and then you just basically played for a double turn and then go burn, 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 I win. But yeah, it's a nice change. But yeah, we'll move on to focal points now. So focal points, this one hasn't really changed much apart from you get an extra victory point if you've got a friendly monster or behemoth unit within 6 inches of it.
Yeah, the other one is again a minor change, but where the objectives are, it now measures it 12 and 24 as opposed to 18 from the middle, because that was a real pain.
Yeah, I mean, I think
18 from the middle, making sure it was perpendicular and all of that.
Yeah, because it was maybe like 2 inches out from 24.
Yeah, it was really bizarre.
It was just easy. Yeah, it's just easier looking at that going, yeah, just move it there to 24 and 12 up.
Yeah.
I quite like that it's monster as well, so you're going to see things like sharks from Ideneth and Korgoraths maybe? I'm trying to think of Korgoraths.
It's a nice bonus. Is that the only one?
Korgoraths don't have a monster keyword. Oh, okay. It's the only one that has, monster and...
Yeah. So, again, you've got almost just under a 1 in 3 chance of it coming up in a 5-game tournament.
Yeah.
Do you... Hey, yes, if you're 50-50 on a shark, it's a nice little bonus. You know, sharks come down in points and they did it
100 points,
Christmas or whatever. You know, so yeah, it's a nice little bonus, but I can't see it giving legs to things that are still just, you wouldn't think. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's still. We keep going back to Stonehorns. Like they seem to benefit from all of these, which is.
If they don't go up radically in points, then something's gone wrong somewhere.
Yeah. So. We're not going to talk about points this episode because we're going to wait for the FAQ that updates all the points from Cities of Sigmar onwards. It is a shame it's not out yet because it would have made sense to launch it the same day as the GHB, so everything was all there straight away. But I don't know, maybe next week if it's FAQ time, 2 weeks after release. Are they really going to release it like 40k launch weekend though? I don't
know because didn't GHB go on pre-order the same weekend that 40k went on pre-order or something random like that?
No, GHB's been out. GHB came out last week.
Weekend.
Yeah, it came out last Saturday. So we're recording tonight on the following Saturday. So
it came out the day that 40k went on pre-order.
Did it? Yes.
Yeah,
it did.
40k had a 2-week pre-order.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So in theory, if 2-week FAQs are what they're on for, you're looking at next Saturday when 40k comes out, which I don't think. If anything, it would be maybe the Monday when it comes out. But yeah. No. I don't know. It seems weird, but yeah, we're going to go for it. We're going to do like a completely separate episode of winners and losers of points episode in an episode because it's pointless chatting about a handful that have been tweaked in the supplement book and then the rest that all come out, like the kind of main ones, Zinch and Caradron and Orcs and Cities and all the big ones that are kind of winning events and competing up there. Bone Reapers as well, so it makes sense to just wait. So we're going to do that next episode. So yeah, like you said, I would be surprised if Stonehorns didn't go up, because it looks like everything in here benefits them for scoring points. But I don't know. We may have another no points increase at all for them, but we'll see. The next one is Better Part of Valor. So this is what we're doing. We are now basically across the board, so we're playing which ways instead of up the board.
Yep, so that's another one they've taken away from being up and down the plate.
So it means the objectives are actually much more spread out. And the biggest thing is battle line units can only control it.
This is like places of arcane power, isn't it? But for battle line instead of leaders.
It is. So is this saying that a player only controls an objective if because it doesn't say that. It says a player controls an objective if a friendly battle line unit.
Yeah, so it says normal rules go out the window.
Don't apply, so it's only battle line units.
Yep.
But then it says, where is it further down?
So you talk about if it's destroyed.
Yes, it says if an enemy unit controlling an objective is destroyed by an attack made with a melee weapon by a battle line unit, then the attacking unit immediately gains control of that objective.
Yeah, so this is the same as Place of Arcane Power, where if you've got two enemy leaders on an objective, if you kill one of those leaders, the other leader gets it. But if you kill one of those leaders with a leader, then you get it.
Right, okay. Because I wasn't too sure whether this meant that any units could control it, but then battle line beats everything else.
Again, like that 40. There was 40k rule, wasn't it?
Troops on the ground, or boots on the ground, where troops always scored. Like
objective secured or something like that, wasn't it? Yeah. But no, you read this and you read the rules for Place of Arcane Power, and they read more or less the same. Just
it's only battle line
hero and put battle line in.
Enough. It was just weird. It said about if an enemy unit.
Yeah, all it had to do was say if an enemy battle line unit was controlling it. But then people would say, well,
does that mean that? Yeah.
Non-battle line ones, if they're controlling it, they don't get killed. Yeah. So
it was that was the one thing I was like, well, does that mean anyone can control it, but battle line gets priority?
No, my question on this is the whole. So there's a lot of things in books where it's battle line if. So if you're battle line if, I assume you're classed as battle line for this.
I think if it's battle line, if it's an actual battle line unit in your list. So if I'm trying to think of an example.
So cities of Sigmar.
Cities, I think
very
it
much
would
depend
only
on
work,
who your general is.
Yeah, it would only work on those units that are battle line in your list.
Yeah.
Not if you've randomly thrown in I'm trying to think of one, a Sisters of the Watch unit that is only battle line if you've got a Wanderer's General, for example, but you've not got that, then they wouldn't count. But yeah, I quite like this because, well, okay, I'll be honest, I like it and I don't, because for some armies this is great. Idnef, like battle line Eels, fine. Then you've got other lists that have pretty rubbish battle line, and if they die to a stiff breeze, your opponent's literally going to target them turn one and go, they're going to be the things I kill. I'll let the dead. You can't score. I win.
True, but again, I've played Plays of Arcane Power quite a few times with my Deepkin, and I've got very squishy heroes. I've got two squishy heroes and one hero that I don't want to have an objective.
You do, but you can deploy them off the board. I'm thinking of lists that don't have any way of deploying battle line units off the board, etc.
Yeah, if you get Alpha Strike, etc. But again, you run the risk. You either write your list so you beef up those units, and you prepare. Because you only really need one. If you can keep one alive for 5 turns and stop your opponent from staying on the other ones for 5 turns, that's normally enough.
Yeah.
It's and if an army can Alpha Strike you, irrelevant of the mission, you're going to struggle. I know what you mean there. There is a large disparity on what is good and what is
battle line.
Battle line.
Yeah.
Again, Stonehorns.
Yeah.
Yeah, then you kind of like come up against that, and that's a real struggle for you.
Yeah. So yeah, it will be interesting to see that. I think for some armies, like they're going to laugh all the way to the bank just playing this mission. For others, I think they're going to cry to the bar. But like you said, it's not like every single mission where it's that. I would quite like it if they made it where battle line units scored above everyone else in every mission, a bit like 40k.
Yeah, just gives you that reason to.
Because
at the end of the day, there's a lot of armies out there where you just talk about battle line tax. You put those units in because you just have to have a battle line.
My Legions of Nagash was literally 2 units of 5 direwolves, a unit of 10 chain rasps, and then all the rest of the fun stuff.
Yeah.
And
the advantage of that is you can bring them back. Like it's only 5 direwolves.
But yeah, like 5 direwolves are 70 points or something. Yeah. Like, if you really wanted to, you could spend 3 units, get 3 units of them, and that is your battle line.
Yeah.
And like you said, that's a kind of not tax, but it's just like, there you go, I filled your requirements, now let me just actually play my army.
And this kind of again brings you back to, you've really got to think about it and try and get, you run the risk if this comes up and you've got a poor battle line, then it's up to you.
Yeah. So no, I like it. It will be interesting to see whether it is used. You may find some of these where, a bit like Relocation Orb in the past, after a couple of tournaments everyone complains about it, it just gets put to the side and doesn't ever get played. But no.
I hope not. I don't like it when, like, they're in here, it's only for a year. Suck it up and
just crack on. Definitely. Yeah. The next one is Shifting Objectives. So for this one, again, you get an extra victory point if you've got a friendly battle line unit within 6 inches of controlling objective. So again, it's kind of battle line. I mean, you're going to have battle line anyway, so that's just a nice addition. The big one for this, well, it's not really big, but you've just got a smaller deployment zone. So you've kind of 12 inches in from each side. So you've got like a box.
Guarantee you people will forget this.
Yes.
Because it's the only one where there's like this kind of odd.
This is the deployment zone that used to be in Duality of Death, if I remember.
I was going to say, it's very old school though, isn't it? Like, this is Warhammer Fantasy Battle.
Did they have a deployment zone like that? I'm trying to remember.
I'm pretty sure you used to deploy like this in Warhammer Fantasy Battle.
God, I can't remember. It's been
this is the archetype, or it was 40k. One of the games from many moons ago. That was the standard. I'm sure they did. The objectives were different, but that was like your deployment zones. You 12 inches in, 12 inches up. Simples.
Yeah. I'm talking complete rubbish about Duality of Death, because that was the one that had the 4 corners of deployment zone this time. It was a bit of a weird one. You had like you had 2 corners each, and like a huge gap in the middle. But there used to be I'm pretty sure maybe 2018 Duality of Death maybe. But yeah, I mean, the battle line thing, like I said, it's a nice additional one, but it's still, it is what it is. Like, you're going to be using battle line, just if you can get them within 6 of an objective, crack on. You've still got the primary objective, so you've always got one that's worth 2 points and one that's worth the other one's worth 1 point. But that's about the only change, really, deployment. And like you said, I expect a lot of people will forget about that.
Yep.
The next one, Places of Arcane Power. I love this one. So rather than having a whole entire half, basically a triangular half of a table, it's now opposite corners. Opposite quarters, I should say, and you're 9 inches away. I really like this because it means you're not guaranteed to get over to like those side objectives turn 1.
Yeah, I was going to say that middle objective is going to be a big melting pot.
Yeah, 18 inches away from each other. It's just going to be just run forward, see what happens. But yeah, I think it's going to really change how people deploy in this for those side objectives, because you used to always see people put like the tiniest hero in the bottomest corner that they could get, whereabouts they're not in deployment, and then like just run turn 1 onto it. I think this time you're going to see maybe not scoring until like turn 2, turn 3, until you've got your other units kind of screening
because you can't
properly.
like drop down or teleport into it, can you? Because it's got to be a move, not a setup.
Yes. So yeah, it's a bit like I should have mentioned about which one was it? Not Scorched Earth. Just the one where better part of valor. So it's if you make a 3-inch move that isn't a retreat, so that's the same as better part of valor. So sorry, if you make a move within 3 inches.
Within 3. I was going to say 3-inch move.
Yeah. Specific, yeah. So yeah, if you make a move within 3 inches of it that wasn't a retreat, so yeah, I think you can't drop down on it. You can't do anything like that. It's 12 inches. I'm trying to think. It's 12 inches away. Yeah, even if you come on from the side, I'm thinking like soul scryers and things like that. That doesn't count.
Yeah, you can't like. Well, also, you're not within range because you're within 6 inches, and you're not therefore within 6 inches.
True.
So it's always because that was the problem. So this one, I always used to like it when my opponent went first and actually put something on it because it meant I could charge in.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Charge in.
You deploy there and you just charge in, let the eels actually kill everything, and then you just do your pile in and go, oh, hello. But yeah, that's not going to happen now because again, it's going to be very difficult to get onto that objective.
Yeah, and I think the way that the deployment zone is now, you're going to see a lot of I think screening walls to start off with around the edges of your deployment zone, and then your kind of heroes coming in from behind. So I'm looking forward to playing that one. It would be nice to not just watch kind of little heroes run on straight away and then get surrounded. So it should be
mixes it all up.
Yes. The next one is a brand new one, the Blade's Edge. So this one is you're playing widthways on the board, so normal deployment zone. You are deploying 12 inches up the table, even though the territory is like half a table. But the objectives are actually 18 inches up the table. There's 3 objectives each, and they are 18 inches up the table, and they're 18 inches in and 18 inches apart, away from each other, widthways. So you're not scoring this turn like straight away from deployment, which is nice because it means you've got to get close. You score end of each turn 1 victory point for each objective.
It's a bit of an odd one. Like it's quite simple.
Yeah, it's.
I was looking for where's the complexity.
I did this. That's why I was just struggling there. I was like, which is the one that's like really simple? And I was reading this one. Yeah, no, this is the one. So it's literally an 18-inch upwards, 3 objectives worth a point each. You're going to be 18 inches away from each other from the other objective. It's just basically going to be a massive rock over 2 objectives, like in the 3 different spots. Because why wouldn't it be? You can't sit back. It's literally everything's going forward. You're sitting on that 12-inch line, just pushing it forward. I think things like that can drop down are going to be quite important in this one, or can tunnel up, or any way of getting around the board that isn't moving. But even then, I mean, if you're on the 12-inch line and it's an 18-inch, you can make that 6-inch run if needs be, and make sure that you're kind of screening whatever's going to be holding that objective. So I can't wait to play this one. I know we're playing on the Wednesday, hopefully, if you're not too ill. So maybe we'll play this one or Forcing the Hand. One of the new ones. We'll give it a go.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll
try that one because I've already done Forcing the Hand and I did it all wrong. So.
Okay. Yeah, but you're Lumineth, you're massive spikeman. You could probably sit on one objective and reach the other one. So.
Oh yeah, just stab you from afar.
Yeah. But no, like I say, it's nice and simple. I quite like that it is simple because it is a brand new mission. I think they could have easily gone, right, here's a brand new mission, here's all of these extra complicated rules, and everyone's just like, what? Just introducing this, and then maybe next season they introduce an extra couple of rules for it, or I don't know, an extra scoring mechanic or anything like that. So
it's a nice one for Game 5 when you've had a very stressful tournament and you're like, oh my god, like I've got another game to go. When it's like just this one, you're like, well, what's the catch? Nothing. You just play standard Warhammer.
Push
like,
forward.
Okay,
Get in the
I
combat.
can cope with that.
Yeah, score a point for each objective. Crack on. You're like, oh, okay, I'll take that. The next one is total commitment. As far as I can tell, there are no changes in this.
I was just looking at it. I can't see any changes.
There's
Still no reserves.
There's still no reserves. It's exactly the same scoring for points. It's the same deployment zone. But, like, there's no change.
The layout is different, but I think they've just added.
Right, so the layout is different because they've actually put the. This is what I was talking about.
No, sorry, I meant the layout of the text. I'm comparing the text between the two things.
They've
but yeah, I think
added in a couple of extra measurements. I don't know why they've put a dotted line between the two middle objectives because
odd.
It's the same measurement, so it would be an obvious choice of where it is. But yeah, there's absolutely no change, so we'll just skip through that one.
Yeah.
And finally, it's another brand new one, Forcing the Hand. So this has 6 objectives. It's got the L-shaped deployment zone, which is, it's always a faff trying to measure it all out.
Not a fan.
It's 12 inches you've got to deploy away from each other as well, so you're doing another kind of L-shaped deployment. So you've got an L-shaped territory and then you've got an L-shaped deployment, so it's always a bit weird. Basically, there is a primary objective, so the map shows which objectives belong to which player. So you've got 3 objectives each. 2 of them are actually on the territory line, which is a little bit weird. And in the corners, one of them's player A's, one of them's player B's. At the start of each player's turn, the opposing player picks one of their own objectives to be the primary objective for that turn. So if it's player A turn, player B picks one of player B's objectives, and that's the primary objective. You score 3 points if a player controls the primary objective. This is the end of each of their turns. And a player controls 1 point if you control any other objective.
Yeah, so we did this wrong in that we did it. I picked the primary objective in my turn and I scored in my turn, whereas actually I should have picked it in my turn.
You should have picked it in your opponent's turn, and then if they scored it,
that's why we got it wrong.
They would get the 3 points. Yeah.
It does feel like an overly convoluted way. It'll be interesting to see how it pans out. But yeah, you kind of you can see you can almost see what your opponent's going to do, and therefore you kind of pick which one it is. So there's no luck in it, which I suppose is good.
Yeah.
But it means you've got to be looking at all 3 at the end of the day. Yeah. Because there's no chancing your arm and saying, right, I'll take these 2.
Yeah, the thing is, turn, whoever goes first in that turn, you need to be thinking, well, where am I going to make my primary objective? So if you've gone first, then
it doesn't matter if you go first or second. Because if you're going first, I'll pick in my territory, but then when it's my go, you're going to pick in your territory?
Yeah, but what I mean is, if you go first, then you can set up your army to stop your opponent getting to what you're going to pick as your primary objective. That's what I mean.
Yeah, but true, but then you're having to essentially cover 6 objectives. Because you've got to try and get to theirs.
Yeah.
Because you're only going to score points if you get to theirs. If they're not putting pressure on all 3 of your objectives, then it's going to be easy. Because whether it's well defended or not, you just go, right, it's that one because you can't get there.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? You play something like, I know, OBR that aren't particularly fast. I know they're not as slow as everybody said they were to start with, but you just put it in one and then they kind of go to one and then you go, oh, it's now down the other side, and then like everybody shifts across, and then they're just stuck in the middle, never going one way or the other. So you have to be able to, you either have to have a really fast army, or you have to be able to apply pressure on like each 3. And like you say, you kind of then go, am I trying to get it, or do I just want to defend my 3? But can you defend all 3? Don't know. If you put it there and that goes, it's a quite a I think it's got quite a lot of tactical depth to it.
Yes, I'm looking forward to playing this one. Like I said, I think it will take 2 or 3 practice games to actually get your head around what's got to happen and what you do. But yeah, it's always nice to see new ones. But as we talked about the Blade's Edge being nice and simple for a new mission, this one's kind of the opposite.
Yes.
And especially with the weird deployment zone as well, it's makes it even more confusing. So we'll see. I am looking forward to it. I've seen a few people on Twitter play this one, and they have said it's really good and quite tactical. So it'll be interesting to see. But those are all the missions. So overall, I quite like the changes. I like that you get additional scorings for certain bits as well. So it can sometimes be the difference between everyone just scoring exactly the same every turn. So that'll be quite nice. But let's talk about the auxiliary objectives. So before I do these, I should probably say that on our website I've created some auxiliary objective cards for people to print off and use.
And they look absolutely smashing, I have to say.
Thank you very much. I had a week away from the little one, so I just, the very first night, put them all out and did them. And someone messaged me, went, "You've done this in 3 hours since you don't have a kid." And I was like, yeah, it's fine. So yeah, no, they are on the website, so free to download. By all means, just download, use them. Let me know what you think. I had a couple of people say that the text needs to be bigger, but everyone else said that they were fine. So I think it all depends on how you print them. I did kind of, I haven't printed them myself personally, but I did do a print preview and they did look fine. So hopefully it's just their eyesight and not anything too bad.
I haven't printed them out either yet, but I'm sure we will do before our first tournament.
Yeah, well, normally I'd just abuse the Works printer and just print off loads of copies and laminate them all, but as I'm working from home, it's a bit hard to do that. I might get one of the managers phoning me up wondering why I'm sending stuff through to the printer.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to have to probably sneak in at one point and do off a few copies and see what I can do. But yeah, the objective, so you basically pick 2 for each game. And as we've kind of talked in the match play missions, they can help you if you both have the same amount of victory points. So whoever's got the most objectives gets the minor, or if you've both scored exactly the same, then you get the draw. So let's quickly go through these. We're not going to go into too much detail because there are 18 of them, so we're not going to be here all day. The first one, the aggressor. If you control all of the objectives wholly within your opponent's territory. I quite like this because it's, as it kind of alludes to, it means that you have to push across. And there's some missions whereabouts you will be pushing across. Force in the Hand, for example, you'll be trying to score their objectives. So
yeah, and in some, actually in their territory is just one objective.
Yes.
Because of the way that they've reconstructed the maps and the territories. And it's interesting because it also says it doesn't include anything on the edge.
Yes. So Force in the Hand, you're literally looking at 2 objectives.
Yeah.
So yeah, I quite like that one. I can see it being used quite a bit, and that one happens at any point. It's not at the end of the battle. The next one, assassinate. When you reveal it, your opponent must pick 1 unit in the starting army that's a hero. You complete the objective if that hero is slain before the end of the battle. So again, quite a nice simple one. If you've got, I'm thinking Lumineth or anything like that, where they might only have 1 or 2 heroes or 3 heroes, then it's quite a nice one.
It's an odd one that the opponent picks it though.
It is, but it stops you picking that nice squishy hero of your opponents and just turn one.
But you kind of want to reveal it ASAP, like at the start, really, don't you?
Well, yeah, it's a bit weird that it says when you reveal this objective, but you will reveal it at the start of the turn.
Yeah.
Okay, so your opponent's just got to choose one.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, I can see that one being used. I think KO will pick this almost every single game because they can just shoot them off normally turn 1, turn 2. This one I love, the bait. So when you reveal it, you pick one friendly unit in your starting army. You complete the objective if it's destroyed by an enemy unit before the end of the third battle round. So if you've got a nice sacrificial unit, you just chuck it forwards and go, there you go, like, go kill it. I'm thinking 40-point A for wing units, just...
Well, it's also kind of like, think of those squishy battle line units that you're going to put on an objective. You're going to stick that on an objective, and you're going to say, either you kill it and give me an auxiliary, or you don't kill it and it builds up, 6 points if it's there for 3 turns,
Yeah. So yeah, I think the bait is the best name for it as well. It's that nice little... Go on in. Cornered, you complete the objective if you have 2 or more friendly units within 3 inches of the same enemy hero at the end of any turn. I quite like this, because it's not... You've got to have like so many models, it's just 2 friendly units. You could have 2 heroes attacking 1 hero and you've got it. So I quite like it. I think, like, I'm thinking things like Archeon and Teclis that have massive bases, they're going to struggle to not have this happen to them.
Yeah, and again, Stonehorn, like, you pick this and you say you Stonehorn, right, that means you've either, if you charge into 2 of my units, you give me a point. If you only go into 1, then I'm going to counter charge with the other, little things like that.
Defender, you complete the objective if there's no enemy units wholly within your territory at the end of the battle. I always hated using this one in when secondary objectives were a thing, like, because it's just enemy territory. It's not your deployment zone, it's territory. So on some of those maps, it's half the table. If they've got one model there, then it's just you don't score it. Maybe for some of them where you've got a smaller deployment zone, territory, then potentially. But I think there's better ones here that you choose over the course.
It's when you get that annoying like tree rev that just teleports turn 5. Yeah. And, it's doing nothing else. It's just going to pop across there and just stops you from getting it. So.
Yeah. Domination, you control the objective if 3 or more enemy units are destroyed in the same turn. There's quite a few armies that can do that quite easily.
Yeah.
It's not even in the same phase, it's the same turn. So if you've got a kind of all arms shooting and melee army, then they're just going to be laughing. I'm thinking Bone Reapers, your catapults, and the rest of the army. Lumineth, anything like that, it'll be fine. 3 or more units as well, especially towards the end of the battle when units are quite like depleted anyway. They can just go in and you just pick off the last couple of models in each unit and suddenly you've scored it. Grudge. So when you reveal it, you must pick 1 enemy hero in your opponent's army and 1 friendly hero in your starting army. Complete it if that enemy hero is slain by an attack made with a melee weapon by that friendly hero. So I think Archeon's going to be using this all the time. Gotrek will be using it all the time. I can't think of many other proper combat heroes that... Oh, well, actually, it's not... Yeah, no, it is melee weapon, sorry.
Yeah. It's going to be a funny one because I don't think that many people will take it because it is so specific. That one has to kill, that one that has to do that.
I will be disappointed if Gotrek and Archeon players do not use that one in a tournament.
I wouldn't use it with Gotrek.
Did not?
Because depends who the character is. If it's Archeon on the other side of the table, then yeah, probably.
It's narrative.
Of course. But like some characters are so easy to hide.
Oh yeah, all jokes aside, with Gotrek, he's got a 4-inch move. Enemy that you pick is literally going to run away from you.
But also, like, it's, if you've got a squishy character and you've got something like Gotrek or even a Stonehorn or whatever is coming towards you, he's going to die, so you just chuck him into something else.
Yes. Yeah.
That unit has to fight him, that unit's going to kill him, and then, you can't take it. Yeah. There's so many things that could stop you from getting this one. It's an odd one.
Yeah. Headhunter, complete the auxiliary objective if all of the lead units in your opponent's starting army are destroyed before the end of the battle. I think this is completely dependent on what your opponent's army is, because if you've got one that's got like 6 heroes and 4 of them are quite survivable, then maybe not. If you've got one
it's something like if you're playing Places of Arcane Power, you pick this.
Yes. Yeah, because
you're like, I need to kill the heroes
I need to
anyway.
kill them anyway.
Okay.
If you face an army that's got 2 heroes or something, then it's going to be an obvious one to choose.
So, quick question: is there a difference between heroes and leaders?
Right.
Because I noticed in this GHB, he talks about leaders, not heroes.
No.
Are there any leaders that aren't heroes?
I did a quick look through. I couldn't find any that had the leader keyword that didn't have the hero keyword. I may have missed one, but as far as I could tell, every leader unit has a hero keyword.
And does every hero have a leader keyword? Well, no. Is every hero unit a leader?
I think so. I'm trying to think.
There you go. Twitterverse. If you're listening, let us know.
I want to say there's one unit that doesn't conform, and I can't remember who it is now, because you could take multiples of him. And who was it?
You can take multiples of leaders.
No, as in, like, you could take them outside the leader units, and that's really going to annoy me now. He had the hero keyword, I'm pretty sure, but he wasn't a leader.
It was just I noticed.
It was like one model, I think it was.
Yeah.
I can't even remember
As
who
we
it was.
go through it, it's constantly mentioning leader, and it's not highlighted.
Yeah.
Although there is. Well, again, so actually, Grudge is hero.
Yeah, Grudge is hero, Assassinate's hero.
But Headhunter's leader.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a bit of a weird one, but I'm sure someone will kind of point us in a direction of who doesn't have the hero or leader keyword. So I'm pretty sure there was someone. Grimwrath Berserker, there you go. I knew who it was. The Grimwrath Berserker from Fireslayers, as he says, getting the points out, doesn't have the leader keyword, but he's got the hero keyword. I'm 99% sure. He says flipping through to the points section, and I'm stalling live on air.
Top radio, man looks at book.
Man looks at books, better than man read books. Let's have a quick look. Where are we? Order. Fire Daughters, Idnef, Fireslayers, Grimwrath Berserker. There you go, 100 points. Doesn't have a leader or doesn't have the leader unit type, but
fair enough. He's a hero.
I'm pretty sure he's a hero. Grimwrath Berserker. He's got the hero keyword. Look at that. We don't need the Twitter universe. You've got me and my sad brain that knows too much about units. That.
Oh, there we go. That's why they've made the change.
Yes.
Purely for one model.
For one model, yeah. There's probably more. I remember that one because I was looking at Fireslayers recently, and then realised I didn't want to paint the same model over and over again. Anyway, Invader. You complete this objective if at the end of the battle you have more friendly units wholly within your opponent's territory than your opponent has wholly within your territory. So this is
it's an interesting one. Yeah, I could see some people taking it.
You're basically if you've got this, you're literally on turn 5 hoping you potentially get the second turn or first turn, depending on what the table looks like. So you can either rush everything into your opponent's side,
or just kill all of theirs,
and stop them.
I suppose if you're running MSU, then and your opponent's not, then you might do.
Yeah.
But if you're sat there with like starting 5 units, and your opponent's sat there with like 12, 15 units, you're not going with this, are you?
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. The next one, Marked for Death. When you reveal the objective, your opponent must pick one unit in their starting army that is not a hero. You complete it if that unit is destroyed before the end of the battle. No, I don't like this because your opponent will just pick the toughest anvil that they've got and just go on then.
The fact that your opponent gets to pick it, it can be anything that is not a leader.
You might, if you get a very squishy army that you're playing, there's a very slight chance that you could get this, but I think a lot of times, thinking of most armies, there's normally a solid block. I mean, most army lists, if you're writing a list, you're always writing a solid block that's going to hold up most stuff. and survive. So that's the thing that you're always going to put this on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's okay. Mass Panic. You complete it if 2 or more different enemy units fail a backshock test in the same battle round.
Who's going to pick that? If it's 1, fine. But 2 or more, it's going to be tough to.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much ignore Battleshock now. It's quite hard to make 2 units fail. Maybe if you're Lumineth and you've got that spell that makes everything like 2 CP to instead.
Yeah, I was thinking that, but then even then, you generally with the Cathalar putting it on 1 unit, the extra bonuses, it might do, but it depends who you're playing against, I suppose.
Yeah. So situational at best. I mean, if you've got a Bravery Bomb army and that's what you've built it around, then yeah, you probably pick that all day long, but it's not going to be a go-to one like some of these. Overwhelm, you complete this objective if an enemy hero is slain by an attack made with a melee weapon by a friendly battle line unit. I'd have to take this, I think, almost every single day.
They're running multiple eels, and
yeah. Maybe more Tech Guard if you're facing something squishy.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a
Iron Jaws. Are you taking this?
Yeah, because most of the army's battle line, so
yeah,
if you send a big unit of hard boys or basically anything, to be honest, buff it up with a war chanter and send it in and crack on. So yeah, I think you'll see this quite a lot. Certain armies maybe not. Talking about those units that have battle line chaff, tax, etc.
And the frustrating thing here is it's melee as well.
Yes.
So there'll be somewhere they'll be like, oh well, I can do that. Oh no, that's shoot attack.
So pillage is the next one. When you reveal this objective, you must pick 1 terrain feature wholly within your opponent's territory. You complete it if you have a friendly unit with a combined wound characteristic of 5 or more within 3 inches of that terrain feature at the end of any battle round. It cannot be completed with a unit that was set up on the battlefield in the same turn. I quite like this. It's something different. The fact that it's only battle round as well, it doesn't mean that you're just sat on the terrain piece for the whole battle waiting for it to end. And 5 or more wound characteristic as well. It means any kind of unit can score it rather than you have to have 5 or more models, etc. Means that hero can quickly jump over, go pillage out, and then get back to where it wants to.
And it's got to be in their territory as well, which is interesting.
Yes. The one question... So the question I've got is, does a army faction scenery piece count as a terrain feature?
I don't know why I know that, but yes, it does.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, that's
because
not too bad.
When you get to the realm rules,
it talks about
this also
terrain.
applies to them, doesn't it?
Fair enough. So yeah, that's quite a nice one. It's one that you can score at any point as well. So it doesn't say that.
Oh, interesting though.
What's up?
So the realm ones specifically say terrain features, including faction terrain, have X, Y, and Z. This one doesn't say including faction terrain. It just says.
It's nice that it's not you can't have any opponent models here as well, so you can still be in combat with something near it.
Yes.
So it means that your opponent can't exactly shut it down. It's literally just, unless you really want to surround every terrain piece by 3 inches with units, it's going to be quite hard not to get.
Yeah, and this is again they need to define when you reveal these, because this is saying when you reveal it. Now, does it say when you actually reveal these?
Yes, so it says once both players have picked their objectives, they must reveal them to each other simultaneously. So it's at the start of the battle.
Right, fair enough.
Okay. So yeah, it's okay. I think you'd see that in most armies, to be fair. Because anyone can score that. Prey on the Weak, you complete this objective if all of the battle line units in your opponent's starting army are destroyed before the end of the battle. I think things like better part of Valor and things like that, where it's literally you're going to be focusing on those battle line units anyway. That's what you pick it for.
Yeah, again, it all depends on who you're up against, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because if you're up against somebody with, like you say, those couple of dire wolves and a unit of skellies, you're going for them every day of the week, aren't you?
Yeah, if you're going for 3 blocks of berserkers and 4-up saves, etc., then maybe not.
2 sets of 40 and a set of 20 more take guard. You just leave them alone, don't you?
Prize possession. You reveal the subject. When you reveal it, you must pick one friendly hero with an artifact of power. You complete it if he's not been slain until the end of the battle. So that's the same as the secondary objective one. Keep him alive. Run him around everywhere. Seize ground is you must pick one terrain feature that is not within your territory. You complete this if you have one or more friendly units within 3 inches of it at the end of the 4th battle round. Really wanted to, you could tie this in with pillage. If you really want to go full terrain, right, 4th battle round, I'm going for this.
Because this one's interesting. So this is not within your territory, and that one is within your opponent's.
Yeah. So
slightly different, but
you could almost do a combo one if you know you're definitely gonna do that. But that one you're not scoring until the end of the 4th battle round, so it depends whether you want to keep something there until then. Territorial is you must pick one objective on the battlefield. You complete it if you control that objective at the end of 2 consecutive battle rounds. I think you'll see this in most tournaments used because you're mainly holding them all the time. And then Vengeful Counter, you complete this objective if any enemy units are destroyed in the same turn that any friendly units are destroyed. Turn 5 and you've got throwaway units, I think. Because it's not by the same units, so you can go in to kill one model left of theirs if you know your unit's going to die as well. It's a nice easy throwaway one. So I think with those you're going to see quite a lot of them used. I think some of them are very, very situational and probably won't get used. But I think there's a good selection there that you will see every single...
There's enough variety for most armies, isn't there?
Yes, definitely. So I like them. It's nice that they've been implemented in and they're actually a part of the scoring as well. So it is rather nice. There is a pitch battle tournament pack on here. I've not really read through it because 9 times out of 10 TOs already have their own. But it will be interesting to see if anyone does use this as a kind of your go-to section now.
I can't see it.
And now we'll look at the Realm of Battle rules. So the realms have been completely and utterly, not wiped out, but they've been refined a lot.
Reduced,
I think.
Shrunk.
That's the best word, yeah. So everything from Malign Sorcery basically is now not... doesn't happen. So all those spells, the artifacts, and then all the realm rules from the... They were actually in the main rulebook, weren't they? The actual realm rules.
I was going to say, because there's certain bits that are still in the rulebook and certain bits that were in Malign Sorcery, so
But they've all been taken out and they've become a bit more refined. It does actually say that players can roll off and the winner can pick the mortal realm for the battle. I have a feeling at tournaments, if they use realm battles, then I think they'll be predetermined rather than just players can pick and choose.
Yeah, I think so. I think you pick your battle plans and then you pick your realms and you just stick them up in advance. They might do it that you roll at the start of each round, so you know in advance what your battle plans are, but you don't know what your realms are going to be. I don't know.
Yeah. It's like I said, they're a lot more refined. If you take you can still take realm artifacts, but you don't use Malign Sorcery. It's literally the one artifact that's in each of these realms. So every realm has a spell. It's got a Realmscape feature, a realm artifact, and a realm command ability. So 4 simple things for each realm. It's not too bad. So the realm of fire, you've got fireball as the spell, so that's kind of the same as before. It's a casting value of a 5. You pick an enemy unit within 18. If it's got 1 model, it suffers 1 mortal wound, 2 to 9 models D3, or 10 or more D6 mortal wounds. On a 5, that's not too bad.
It's not too bad. Like you say, on a 5, depends who you're playing against, but Yeah, the chance you most of the time you're going to pick units with more than two,
Oh,
or two or more models, aren't you?
yeah.
So you get D3 mortal wounds, maybe D6 if you're lucky.
D6 if you're facing a horde. Well, not even a horde, 10 or more. It's not that bad to put it in. So yeah, it's an okay spell. I can see wizards using that. The realm scope featuring is burning lands, so terrain features including faction terrain. So this is a bit like what we were talking about earlier about auxiliary objectives and whether faction terrain count as terrain features or they're separate entities. This one actually specifically says including faction terrain. So it's got the volcanic scenery rule in addition to any other scenery rules that they have. So if anything's nearby any piece of terrain, you're going to be rolling dice and hoping they don't explode every single hero phase.
I was going to say I can see some of these being forgotten in the heat of battle, but the fact that it's going to be every single terrain feature, you've got a lot more chance of remembering it. And it's interesting that it's your own stuff as well. So
Yes.
all of a sudden, these things that give you buffs are now also giving you a bit of a
Potential
could
damage.
do more wounds on you. So yeah.
Yeah. The realm artifact is the incandescent rage blade. You pick one of the bearer's melee weapons. If the unmodified hit roll from an attack by that weapon is a 6, it scores 2 hits on the target instead of 1. So that's okay. That's not too bad.
I think for me it's probably one of the weakest. If it'd been mortal wounds, yeah.
I suppose it depends what it is. If it's
high damage, then maybe.
Yeah.
You know, wounds on a 2+ with a -3 rend, then yeah, but you still got to get the 6. So you're looking for something that's doing lots of attacks with high damage.
Is if you put that on a keeper of secret that already explodes into 2 hits and a 6 to hit, does that mean you get 3 hits? Because you get 2 hits for the artifact and then 2 hits for the allegiance ability.
Yeah. Don't know, because you could argue it's 4 then, because it says it hits
2 hits instead of 1. Yeah.
Instead of 1, and that they split it into 2 1s, and then the 2 1s become 2. Yeah, don't know. FAQ, please.
FAQ. So if not, that could be quite fun. I mean, like you said, you're still fishing for 6s, but
yeah,
if you've got that potential that suddenly those damage 5 claws can suddenly become like 3 or 4 attacks each, and that could be quite tasty. And the realm command is blazing fervor. I hope that's the right word. Fervor.
yeah.
Fervor. Yeah. You pick a friendly unit wholly within 12 of a friendly hero. You add 1 to run and charge rolls made by that unit. The same unit cannot benefit from the command ability more than once per phase. That's quite nice.
Yeah, I can see that being used quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm thinking my Iron Jaws would quite like that. They have they already get +1 anyway as a normal command ability.
Yeah, I was going to say there's quite a few.
The drummer.
Yeah, quite a few armies that have got something similar. So you could stack it up, hitting, cogs +1 here and +2 from the cogs, and then all of a sudden,
eels could be on the turn that they can run and charge. An extra couple of inches.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not too bad. So that's the Realm of Fire. Overall, it's an okay set. It's
yeah.
I think the volcanic one will be the thing that everyone will either forget about or it will just create
havoc.
Yeah. Lots of weird deployments as you're trying to move away from scenery. The next one is the Realm of Metal, the Realm of Shaman. And the magic spell is Metamorphic Warding. So it's cast on a 7, and if successfully cast, you pick 1 friendly unit wholly within 12 of the caster, and you add 1 to the save rolls for the attack that target that unit. So that's quite nice. That's the old Mystic Shield. So
yeah, the seven's not too bad. It's quite high, but it's quite a good benefit. So I can see magic heavy armies utilising that quite a lot.
I'm just thinking of Petrifex Elite being you want your 2-up Mortek Guard. that are rerolling saves in the command phase, in the combat phase?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a little bit horrible. I'm thinking of Bastiladon. That's was it a 1-up save or?
Well, it's a 0 save or something stupid like that, isn't it?
Save that then becomes a -1 save. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
That I think that one. I think everyone will be trying to cast that every time because +1 save is kind of invaluable for most armies, especially if you've got a Mystic Shield as well. So you can make them +1 save and re-rolling ones to save. It's definitely a beneficial thing. The Realmscape feature is Transmutative Lands. So terrain features have Entangling Scenery rule in addition. So again, that's -2 to your running charges if you're within an inch of it. So I don't think that will have as much of an effect as the Volcanic one, because 9 times out of 10, if you know everything's entangling, you can just, in the movement phase, make sure you're not within an inch.
I can see it catching some people out. Because with the Volcanic one, you're rolling at every hero phase, so you're constantly reminded about it.
Yes.
With this one, you could so easily completely forget, and then go, right, they're going to do that, and your opponent's like, well, it's -2, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, ooh, okay. But I can definitely see this getting forgotten a lot.
Definitely.
You know, people recounting about it at the bar afterwards, being like, oh, they did this. And they're like, oh, did you do -2? Oh, we all forgot the -2.
Yeah, we all forgot about that. The Realm Artifact has the Plate of Perfect Protection. If a weapon used for an attack targets to bear it has a rend characteristic of -1, change it to nothing. Yeah, it's okay. It's not really perfect protection because -2 rend will still chop you down.
Yeah, and this is a funny one that I see quite a lot in Age of Sigmar is it's not reduce the rend by 1. It's always kind of like, if it's 1, get rid of it.
Yeah.
You know, but 2 doesn't go down to 1 and 3 does. So, yeah. So, I can, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. It is what it is. The Realm Command ability, Living Blades. You pick a friendly unit wholly within 12 of the hero. To your next hero phase, add 1 for attack rolls made with melee weapons. If it made a charge move in the same turn. That one, I think, for some armies it's okay. Like, I don't know.
No, I can see that being
I mean,
used
it's
quite a bit.
nice, but it's not.
+1 to hit is, well, depends. Yeah, again, very depends what unit you put it on, but +1 to hit could be massive on some units.
It's the fact you've got to be wholly within 12 of the hero in the combat phase. So if you're making charges and you're moving everything away to get into combat,
yeah, you need a combat character in there as well, which isn't always to.
Yeah, I was just thinking of Idneth or someone like that, where suddenly the eels are all hitting on 2s on the charge, but then you've got to make sure that you've got Voltage.
No, Voltage, yeah, and I'd sometimes struggle with that.
Do +1 to hit if you. I don't know. Sorry, you're doing +1 attack more.
Yeah.
I'd rather have more attacks than.
The +1 attack is in a certain phase, so this gives you it in a different phase. So there's some benefits, but I can see combat characters using it on themselves.
Yeah.
You know, you talk of your Keeper of Secrets there.
Yeah,
you know, something like that. It gives itself +1 to hit, and all of a sudden it's like, ooh, tasty. So yeah, it'll be used, but again, because it's, you know, are you going to remember it? It's one of those ones, isn't it? Because it's a command ability, and you're in a different realm every time.
Yeah, unless you've got the book in front of you.
Yeah, I'd like to see some tournaments try and just do the entire tournament in a certain realm.
One specific, that would be cool.
Because it kind of gives you that chance to remember it all. Yes, these are trimmed down. They're miles better than, you know, I remember especially when I played Zinch, I was always looking, like, I always had extra spells that I could cast, and then I'd look through, what realm are we in, and go through it. And even beforehand, I'd highlighted different spells that to give me kind of a cheat sheet. But still, at least this is only one spell and one thing. But yeah.
Yeah, having one, like, full tournament in the realm of life, for example. Like I said, it's that thing of like by game 2 it will be drilled into you what everything is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could see that potentially happening. I still think most tournaments probably won't use realms. Like, I think a lot of people just say it's extra. I know it's only one bit of this, one bit of that, but actually each realm is 4 different things, so it's still, if you're in a 5-game tournament, there's 20 new things that you've got to try and remember. So I think some tournaments will just say no realms, which is understandable.
Yeah, it is, but yeah, I always like it when it gets tried at the start. We just don't know when normality is going to return in the tournament scene, do we? So
the next one is the Realm of Beasts in Gur. The Realmscape magic is Wild Form, and you pick a friendly unit wholly within 12. Its casting value is a 5, and you add 2 to the run and charge rolls made by that unit until the start of your next hero phase. So that one's good. I know we said +1 to run and charge is nice for the actual command ability, but a spell to make you +2 to run and charge is
especially at casting value 5.
Yeah, that's kind of a. I'm thinking certain things that can, like, if you've got spells that can teleport units 9 inches away, and suddenly you can make them +2 to charge. Suddenly you're looking at an average dice roll on 2d6 to get in. So, yeah.
And if you got cogs on, then you're looking at a 5. You know, it's kind of.
Soul Scryers, then you're like, yeah.
Oh yeah. You don't even need to roll the dice, do you?
Yeah, I'm just going to put these models here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you'll be sitting there being used all day long, every single game, if you're in the realm of Gur.
Yep.
Realmscape features Savage Land. Every terrain piece has the Deadly scenery rule. So yeah, it's just it's a bit like Volcanic. Any time you're moving around near it, you're going to be rolling that dice. So it could potentially do some damage, but you've only got a 1 in 6 chance, so you never know. The Realm Artifact is the Predator's Talk. You can reroll charge rolls for the bearer. Yeah. Okay. I mean, not many. Well, no, there are quite a few heroes that are quite combat based that can take artifacts, but overall, I think
you kind of, if you take this, then you're essentially saying that the weapons they've got, you're comfortable with. You're not trying to get a better weapon for them.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, reroll charges. Maybe you put it on a Stonehorn or something like that. Whereabouts you need them to do it. I mean, I know
I was going to say,
they've got a command ability or a mount trait where they can reroll charges. I think it is, but yeah, it's okay. Realm Command is Feral Roar. Use it in your hero phase. If you do so, pick one friendly monster wholly within 12 of a friendly hero until the end of the battle round. When you look up the value of that model's damage table, that monster is treated as it suffered 0 wounds. So they kind of fight and move and do everything on their top bracket, which is nice. If you've got
some armies, again, Stonehorns. Seems it should be the Stonehorn episode. They're going to love this.
Yeah, I mean, Boulderhead's got one like that. But it's like one phase you can use it. Whereas this one, like I said, it's going to start your hero phase. In your hero phase, and then you can just move and fight and do everything at that top bracket rather than spend a command point on the move phase, spend a command point in the fight phase. So no, that's quite nice. I mean, for some armies, it's absolutely pointless. But yeah, I think some will kind of benefit that quite nicely. The Realm of Gairam, which is the Realm of Life. The magic is Shield of Thorns. So this is the same as the old Shield of Thorns. It's casting a 5 again. Seems to be a kind of reoccurring theme quite a bit for the Realm magic spells. You pick a friendly unit wholly within 18 of the caster invisible. Until your next hero phase, any enemy unit that finishes a charge move within 3 inches of that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. So yeah, it's just a bit of protection. I mean, it's okay.
I don't think I've ever really cast this.
No, it was one of them that just, like I said, it was it's been in there since ever.
Yeah.
But it's a kind of little bit of a deterrent. But I mean, D3 mortal wounds on something is neither here nor there.
No.
Like if you cast it, I'm just like, okay, I might lose a wound or two, but
Unless your character's on 1 or 2 wounds, then but in general, you're just still going to stick it in, aren't you?
yeah. The Realmscape feature of Verdant Lands, all the terrain features have healing scenery rule, so that's quite nice because
Yep.
but like Volcanic, you'll be doing that every single hero phase. Well, your hero phase, I should say. Chance of healing up would be always a benefit. The artifact is the Everspring Diadem. I think that's the right word. In your hero phase, you can heal a wound. Don't care about that. Healing one wound is neither here nor there. Like if you heal D3, then maybe, but like one wound isn't really it's not really going to affect you that much.
Yeah, it could help some of the squishy characters. It's going to be situational, isn't it? There's going to be games where it keeps it alive.
Yeah, but I think squishy characters, if they've taken wounds, they're normally dead because it's kind of quite hard to do 1 or 2 wounds to them. You either kill them outright or you just don't do anything to them. It's like I've never had whereabouts my I don't know, my fungoid shaman that's only got 4 wounds. He's never like survived on 1 wound or he's normally dead. But yeah, it's okay, but I think there's a lot better artifacts in kind of main battle tome books.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what they've done here. Is they've kind of, it's a bit of an olive branch. Yes, we've still kept some artifacts in there, but very few of these are going to be taken ahead of what's in your books.
Yeah, which it should be. I mean, everyone's got books now, so
yeah,
everyone's got.
And I think this is just kind of like the start of the end for generic artifacts, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a nice trial, but yeah, when you put that many artifacts into the game, there was always going to be 5 or 6 that became the go-to ones, and then 100 that just never got used.
Yeah.
The realm command ability is Command the Land, so you can use this command ability at the end of your hero phase. If you do so, pick one friendly hero who can attempt to cast Shield of Thorns, even if they're not a wizard, and even if the spell is already in the same hero phase.
The same one from before, isn't it?
Again, okay, it's nice, but I wouldn't probably spend a command point to cast it.
No, unless you kind of like Gloom Spite, where... Oh yeah, I'm thinking Gloom Spite, where you kind of got 50 million command points, you never really know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Again, you stick it in, you might as well do a little bit more damage.
Yeah, so yeah, it's an okay realm. There's nothing too exciting about there. The Realm of Light, Haish, has the spell Purity of Defense. It's casting a 5 again. Pick a friendly unit wholly within 12 of the caster invisible to them. You reroll saves of 1 for attacks that target that unit. So it's another Mystic Shield. So it just means you get to cast Mystic Shield and miss if you're in the Realm of Haish, which is quite nice. I always kind of sometimes, I'm always debating which unit to put Mystic Shield onto. So having 2 chances of putting it on is nice.
Yeah. Again, only 5, so
yeah, it's nice and easy. The Realmscape feature Dazzling Lands. Terrain features have the mystical scenery rule in addition to any other scenery rules they have. So everything gets a 6-up save.
Yep.
Yes, probably why they've often you doing multiple save after save. So yeah, it's nice. I think it's one that I think everyone won't complain about. This realm seems to be very defensive. You get a Mystic Shield copy and mystical terrain. It's quite nice. The artifact is the Sarai Trueblade. You can reroll hit rolls of 1 for attacks made with melee weapons by the bearer. Oh, made with a melee weapon by the bearer.
Yeah, I can see that being used quite a bit.
Yeah.
Those ones that are on a 2-up or 3-up.
I mean, you've got the command ability to do that anyway, but yeah, just to have it built into you anyway, it's quite nice. Just to kind of, like you said, that 2-up or 3-up the hit, it's kind of almost not a guarantee. Nothing's ever a guarantee, but it kind of makes it a bit more solid and
Yeah.
going to happen. And the Realm Command ability, the All-Seeing Enlightenment. Use it in your hero phase. Pick a friendly unit wholly within 12 of a hero. Do not apply the cover modifier to save rolls for attacks made by that unit till the start of your next hero phase. Hey? Do not apply the cover modifier to save rolls.
So basically, that unit, and it's not melee, is it? No. So if that unit is shooting something in cover, it's not getting the +1 save.
Okay. I was reading that as if you didn't get cover save, and I was like,
Yeah, I know, but then it's a friendly unit, so why would you?
Yeah.
I'm going to spend a command point to make sure my own unit in cover doesn't get a bonus.
The easiest way that,
Yeah,
it actually just said enemy units do not get a cover modifier save for attacks made by this unit until the start of your next hero phase. That would have been a lot clearer than do not apply the cover modifier save for. Yeah. Yeah, it's nice. I mean, there's not often that you've got units that are in cover enough to.
I like the fact that it's in. So you've got mystical. So some of the other ones where it was deadly or volcanic, it wouldn't have made any sense because chances are you don't want to be there. But in this one, you're in mystical. If you've got a unit that's near an objective, stick it in mystical. Get the +1 as well. You get to reroll ones to save, potentially from that spell. You could see in this particular realm it happening more. So yeah, I kind of get it for that particular realm.
So yeah, maybe you will see that one used quite a bit. The next one is the Realm of Death in Shaiish. And you've got a lovely picture at the bottom of a brand new Gargant that's probably sitting in a warehouse somewhere.
Bitter.
Come to me. I know. Yeah, I know I mentioned earlier that we've got no pre-order thing, but I completely forgot it was Saturday, not Sunday, so.
So you never know.
Yeah. Well, we do, because we're now recording this bit on the Sunday.
I was building up the tension there, you've spoiled it.
Yeah, we had to stop last night. So we're recording on Sunday now, and we know when it's Adeptus Titanicus. Woo! So yeah. The wait for Gargants continue, but I'm sure it'll be worth it when we get them.
It better be, because if the rules are rubbish, there's going to be a lot of salt.
I've got it in the calendar for January 2021, so don't worry. No, I'm confident September. I hope. I moved from August because I'm just like, I think August is just going to be 40k. So we'll see. But yeah, there's a nice picture there.
It's such a small release that it could well be snuck in anywhere.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, this week.
Because Lumineth is meant to be September, isn't it? The rest of the Lumineth.
I don't know.
So
I said later this year, so
yeah, rumour is September, I think.
We'll see. But yeah, there's a nice picture there to look at while you're waiting. But the Realm of Shaiish, the magic is Ripples of the Necroquake. It's got a casting value of a 7, and until the end of that phase, add 1 to casting rolls made for friendly wizards if the casting roll is for an endless spell. It's just good that we've got a limit on endless spells. For a 7, why not just add 1 to casting rolls?
Yeah.
For friendly wizards.
So you've got to cast a spell on a 7 in order to get +1 to a endless spell. There aren't that many endless spells that are 7 or more.
No. So you've got to cast on a 7, and then until the end of the phase, all wizards get +1 to cast for all if they try and cast endless spells.
Yeah, but it's
not
I suppose
cast on a 7. It's I don't know. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but you've got to cast it on a 7 in order to give everybody else +1. So
then cast, yeah.
So if you're trying to cast, I don't know, something on a 5, an endless spell on a 5, why would you try and cast it on a 7 to then cast that on a 4?
Yeah. I think situational. I think
if you've got something like Nagash, I can see, maybe Nagash or Lord of Change or something like that. Maybe you do it then.
Relax, Lord of Change. You pick a Destiny dice and then match it to double, and then crack on.
I'm thinking you do this and then it lets your pinks, it makes the pinks easier and less spell.
No, because the pinks can't cast endless spells.
True. Yeah. It's situational in a situation we can't really think of.
On a 7, I mean, I would have preferred this to be an 8, and you just get +1 to cast for all wizards, but yeah, it's very situational, and especially with the limited endless spell.
It should have just been a 5. Just make it a 5, and it gives you, it's +1. It's not massive. Make it a 5, then +1 to casting endless spells. Yeah, it's a little bit of a bonus, but
yeah. The Realmscape feature is terminal lands. All terrain features have the nullification scenery rule, so you get an extra dispel, and the spells disappear, so it's quite nice.
So again, what's the point in casting all these extra spells with your spell?
Yeah, because what's it, in between turns, everyone just moves all the endless spells towards the scenery and goes, they're all gone now. The Realm Artifact, Grey Sand Brooch, you reroll saves of 1 for the attacks that target the bearer, so it's a free Mystic Shield.
Yep.
Which is nice. I mean, there's no ethereal amulet, but it's nice. And the Realm Command, the Amethyst Aura, you use it in your hero phase, pick a friendly unit wholly within 12 of the friendly hero. Till the end of the battle round, roll a dice each time you allocate a wound or mortal wound, and on a 6 it's negated. So it's a kind of 6-up death save to 1 unit. It's alright, it's nice. I mean, quite a few units now have a 6-up save anyway, but it's...
I think I can see it being used again if those armies that are command point heavy. You're looking for something to spend your command points on.
Yeah, definitely.
You do it on this, and again, the one that springs to mind being Gits, block of 40, stick this on, get 6-up save. It's going to save a fair few, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, I can see it being used. And yeah, I mean, you could use it multiple times in the same phase on different units. So if you kind of want to go just all balls to the wall one turn, right, let's just charge everything in, and you've got a load of command points, just give everyone a 6-up save and just crack on and see what happens. And the last one is the Realm of Shadow in Ulgu, and you've got the Judgment of Shadow for the spell. It's casting value of a 7. You pick an enemy unit within 12 of the caster, and it's visible. Roll 7 dice. For each roll that is less than the unit's unmodified save characteristic, the unit suffers a mortal wound. If the target has a save characteristic of dash, it suffers a mortal wound for each 2+ instead. That's not too bad actually. 7 dice, and if you put it on something that's quite a low save, then it's
6 mortal wounds for a 6-up or a dash unit, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that could be really powerful.
That's not bad. And on a 7, it's doable. It's not something that you kind of... I mean, it could be that you suddenly, I don't know, something that's got a 3-up save or a 4-up save, and it's got a couple of wounds left, you just fish for 1s and 2s and see whether you can get rid of them last couple of wounds off it. But yeah, like you said, against kind of those hordes that don't have a save or have got a really rubbish save, then that could do quite a bit of damage.
Yeah, 12 inches isn't massive, but...
No. The thing I have noticed though, that and the Realm of Fire are the only 2 damaging spells in all of this. I suppose Shield of Thorns, if your opponent charges into you.
Yeah.
But apart from that, everything else is kind of buffed to your own army, so quite nice. Different.
Yep.
The Realmscape feature, the Penumbral Lands, all terrain features have the Overgrown scenery roll, so
blocks line of sight.
Blocks line of sight for everyone bar Lumineth and Caradron if they're in ships, and I think who else? Flying and shooting.
Zinch, quite a bit of their stuff flies and shoots. It's
So basically just screws like Cities of Sigmar, and that's about it really. Can Lumineth? Yeah, Lumineth can target out line of sight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Sylvaneth, kind of Call of
Sylvaner, yeah,
Hunters.
kind of hunters will ruin.
Not that they're particularly seen that often anyway.
With 190 points now, so you might do. They've got a 10-point decrease.
Wow.
You're not going to. Yeah, it's okay. The realm artifact is the Trickster's Foil. You reroll wound rolls of 1 made for a melee weapon attacked by the bearer. That's nice because it's not often that you can get reroll wound rolls.
No, and certain weapons, it's going to be quite tasty, isn't it? You got wounded on 2s or 3s as such. If it's a high damage one, it just gives you again that little bit of extra insurance.
Yeah, and if you really want to, you've got the command ability to reroll 1s to hit, so you could be rerolling 1s to hit and wound, so just makes it a bit more reliable.
Yeah.
And the realm command ability is on me, so you can use it once per battle. At the end of your movement phase, if you do so, pick one friendly unit wholly within 18 of a friendly hero. Remove that unit from the battlefield and set it up again wholly within 6 of that friendly hero, and more than 9 from any enemy unit.
For people that remember this could be a game winner on so many times.
Yeah, so you're wholly within 18, and then you can set it up wholly within 6. So, yeah, you could leap, 12 inches? Is that right? I'm trying to do maths. No, because if you're 18...
No, because you can literally, if you're wholly within 18 plus it, so 24 inches. Plus the base of the hero.
Yeah, because you could be behind and send them forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's quite nice. I like that it's once per battle as well.
Yes. But which means you've got to pick your right point. But, we talked about a number of those auxiliary objectives where you wanted to finish in your opponent's territory or stuff like that. These are the kind of things. Just having teleport is massive.
Teleport straight across.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that one I think you'll be seeing quite a bit. And like you said, if people remember it, then it's going to be a big thing for people. Just jump straight onto an objective or something. So
it's going to be those situations where you stood thinking, "There's no way I can win this game," and somebody stood next to you thinking, "Yes, you can. Just remember the command ability. Remember." And like at the end of it, he's like, "Yeah, he just had." You're like, "You forgot about the command ability, didn't you?"
And it is a setup, so you can't use God Tricks. Unfortunately, still trotting along the table.
Yeah, he doesn't need it.
Yeah. So those are the realm rules. So they're okay. There's nothing game breaking in there, I think. They're a lot more toned down than previous years.
Just adds a bit of flavour, doesn't it? I think keeps it fresh. How many tournaments use it, I don't know. Hopefully tournaments will use it because it isn't game breaking, and like I say, it just gives you a little bit of difference in there. But the argument could well be, well, doesn't really do anything, so what's the point?
Yeah.
I don't know. If I run a tournament this year, which I'm still hoping to, I will definitely use them. Whether I use it as one for the entire tournament or different ones per games, I'm not too sure yet. But I quite like the idea of just saying, right, this is going to be in this realm.
Yeah, and just let people kind of crack on.
Yeah.
If they remember it, great. Then if not, then sucks to be you.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall I quite like them. Like I said, there's nothing too broken in there, so it's nice. It's nothing that people should be whinging about. The spells are okay. There's nothing overly great in there. Like I said, the additional Mystic Shield and the Shadow spell is quite nice. Apart from that, the rest are all just situational, I think.
Yeah. I think again, people will find ways around certain bits and pieces, and there will be some combos in there that you go, ooh, that's that on that all of a sudden becomes. But yeah,
no, I quite like. I think I'll probably try and play a few games with them just to see what they're like. There might be ones that kind of will. Normally, what happens, you go, right, should we play that? And you go, yeah, okay, and then you get to about turn 3 and went, oh, I've completely forgotten about all of this. But it's always nice to give them a go. And that's the GHB for the time being. Like I said, we are going to go through all the points when the FAQ drops. Overall, it's another solid edition. I don't think there's anything that they can really do wrong. I think at the minute it's just kind of keeping the missions updated and fresh until the new edition comes out. Maybe next year, I don't know. The only other thing I was going to talk about was the Anvil of Apotheosis, which is the kind of build your own hero. Just a very brief chatting about it. We're not going to go through it massively. I think it's really cool. I think for narrative it's amazing. I think for match play in tournaments I don't think it works. Because I've seen many broken things that are like 100-point heroes that give you stupid amounts of like +1 to hits and +1 attacks and like absolutely crazy kind of buffs. Have you kind of used it at all, like seen it at all or used it at all?
I haven't read through it yet, but I've heard on the grapevine as such. I think it's one of those things that's open to abuse, and if people are sensible and you're down your local club or something like that, great. For narrative, brilliant. The fact that put it in there is that thing, isn't it? Like they always say, well, it's your game, you do what you want with it. But at the end of the day, if you're playing somebody, unless you're playing somebody who play a lot, then you need some kind of framework in order to do these things around. Yeah. Like if you've got a group of mates that you've been playing for the last 15 years together and you know each other really well and all of that, yeah, go and do whatever you want. But for the vast majority of us, it's good to have just some kind of framework. For tournaments, I would say it's a big no-no, which is a shame in a way, but yeah, it's too open to abuse.
Yeah, the issue is they've kind of got a bit right at the end going, for match play you literally just take your destiny points and then multiply it by 10 and then that's the points, and everyone's gone, no it's not. It's like some of the stuff you can do for 100 points is crazy.
Yeah.
I think if it ever does get used at a tournament, it will be massively revised. Well, there is. And you can take this with these 2 bits, or you can take the selections and that's it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Northern Invasion is making it mandatory to take one.
Yeah, I think that's the kind of big thing for Stuart. And I think for like Northern Invasion, he does try and make it narrative, as much as it does just normally turn into a normal tournament. He does try to add that bit of narrative to it, and I think adding that in could be quite fun, but I also think it's going to be absolutely...
I was going to say, knowing the people that tend to go to that tournament, bonkers. I think it was very much open to abuse. Yeah.
It's nice. It's a nice thing that they've put in. I think, like I said, it's more for narrative. I think the guys at the Realms of War narrative event, I think for them, they're basically rubbing their hands with glee because it gives them so many options. I was looking for it. I mean, I've thought some awesome different things to do, but yeah, you suddenly kind of go, I'd love to do this and have this bit and have that, and suddenly you've got this absolutely broken thing. But the thing I did want to say is I really like that they put in some kind of converted models in it and showed people's work.
Yes, there's some really nice pictures in there, really nice models.
Really cool conversions. I mean, that Vampire Lord, I've seen it a few times, but seeing it again there, it's the kind of conversion of Archaon into a Vampire Lord with like Terrorgeist head on. It's absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, it's a cool little thing. I don't think we'll see it at tournaments. You might see campaigns use it. It could be quite a fun thing, like you said, down the club if you've got a narrative campaign and everyone's got to create a hero and you can level them up over time, etc. But yeah, I don't think we'll see it at tournaments. So let's quickly do our Lumineth lists, which we didn't get to do last week. So you've got how many lists? 2 lists, did you say, or 3?
Oh, I did 3. They're quite high level, so I can quickly go through them.
Okay.
I think when I've gone through the book, I think there's almost 4 or 5 types of lists as such.
Yeah.
I think you've got the mountain and the non-mountain, and in each of those you've kind of got a techless and a non-techless build. I don't think the techless in pure mountain kind of works that well, because I don't think you're getting the most out on the mountain side.
Yeah.
But I think there probably is a mixed list in there as well somewhere, which, but so I've gone with Teclis list I've got Teclis, I've got a Cathalar, so this is in Great Nation of Zatric.
That's the magic focused one, isn't it?
That's the magic focused one. So he's got Fast Learner, Gift of Selenar, and the spell he's got is Speed of Haish. So he's getting a 4-up after wound save as well in there, so that's going to help whilst Teclis is still alive. And then I've gone with the Aurolan Legion, and within there I've got 2 units of Wardens, so they're spear guys, a unit of 30, a unit of 10, and then 2 units of 20 Sentinels, so they're the bows. And then top it all off, Twin Stones. So, yeah, it's very heavily weighed on Teclis doing most of the work, to be honest. But the Sentinels, 2 units of 20.
I was going to say 2 units of 20 will do some damage, probably.
They're going to take out the characters, aren't they? They snipe out characters. And that big block of 30, depending on who I'm playing against, it might be because you can chuck that big block of 30 forward. Stick that forward with Speed of Haish, and then all of a sudden you can go 12 inches. It's not a slow unit. You can then charge from there if you want to, or if you keep it as the -1 to hit, then you've got a massive block of 30 in the middle of the board. There's -1 to hit, and if you charge them, then they're hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s. With Rend, they've got 4-up save. You can make them ethereal, so it's unrendable 4-up. And the beauty of having the 3-inch pikes is that you can more or less pile that unit of 30 into most medium to large size units, and you're getting everybody in.
Yeah.
And that's 20 mortal wounds. So it's tasty.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's a pretty solid list, I think. It's got a bit of everything, and I think it'll do quite well. Like you said, you're relying on Teclis, but you can kind of screen them off quite a bit. So, especially with like 30 if you really need to.
Yeah. And I haven't picked the spells for those units, but I think that's just tweaking, because most of the time you're just going to be casting the one to give you the extra mortals.
Yeah.
Especially the 2 units of archers. Then for my one without Teclis, so staying Zatric, I've got 2 Cathalars and a Light of Eltharion. And then within here, again, I've gone for the Aurolan Legion. And in there, I've got 2 units of 20 Wardens and 2 units of 20 Sentinels. And then I've stuck with 2 units of 5 Dawn Riders and Cogs. So again, this one's a bit of a mixed, just without the mountains as such.
Yeah.
And just trying to get I'll have to play it out. I'm not sure how it's going to work, but again, you've got the Sentinels in there. They can kill, hopefully, snipe out the characters. The Dawn Riders can go get the objectives, because that's my concern with the other list, is trying to capture some of those objectives as we went through. Yesterday, there's quite a few where the objectives are quite far out.
Yeah.
So being able to go get those, Light of Eltharion, just set him off and let him loose, go destroy whatever he can go destroy it, and then the Cathalars are there to stop me from breaking and to pass those bravery debuffs across.
Yeah.
Because again, that's the beauty of the unit of 30 that we talked about in the last list. If you then go and charge into that and you destroy half of it, I can just bounce that back onto you.
Yeah.
And then, it's kind of like, it's quite a bit of a gamble whether you want to go in there or not.
Yeah, no, it seems like a good tactic, and as we said in the kind of review episode, I think doing that little tactic of sending in that big block, losing a load, and then going, well, yeah, you're now gonna suffer that bravery battle shock to yourself. Then no, it is quite a solid tactic, so that should do quite well on the table.
And then my is Eumetrica. I've kept a Cathalar in there, so this is my only non-Eumetrica unit. Well, it was my only Realm Lords non-Eumetrica unit in there. Then we've got Alvanor, the character mountain cow thing. 2 stone mages, just to make sure that he's still gonna be able to stay on his full whack. And then we've got 3 units of the Stone Guard in the Stone Guard battalion. So I've got one with 2 units of 15, one with mallets and one with hammers, and then a unit of 10 with hammers. And then I've stuck in the Emerald Life Swarm to try and keep everybody alive just that little bit longer, because I don't think they're going to, it just makes it even more defensive. And then I've stuck in a unit of Ishlan Guard for 140 points. Just again, a bit of speed, still quite defensive, 4 up unrendable. And I've got a unit of Dawn Riders in there as well. Just for something a little bit different. So they were my 3 ones. Like I say, need to play them out and see how they go. I think the majority of successful units will be Eumetrica, but it's the reach that you've got with them. They're going to be very, very difficult to kill. But are they going to have the reach? Are they going to be able to go out and do it in those battle plans we talked about?
Yeah. I had quite a similar Eumetrica list that I wrote. It was Avalor, the Stoneheart King, 2 Stone Mages, the Light of Arthurian, then a 15 Stone Guard, a 10 Stone Guard, 10 Stone Guard. So that's in the Alarith Temple with one of the Stone Mages, and then I had one of the Spirit of the Mountains as well. So you kind of got 2 of the big mountains, Light of Arthurian, and then kind of 35 Stone Guard with a couple of mages. I originally didn't have the second Stone Mage in Arthurian, had another Spirit of the Mountain. And I was like, 2 heroes and 2 massive monsters. I was like, it might work, but I think this one's a bit more rounded. I mean, you can always take out the Light of Arthurian, and you could basically have 3 units of 15 Stone Guard if you really wanted to. So you've got like the Stoneheart King, 2 Stone Mages, 3 units of 15 Stone Guard, and the Spirit of the Mountain. The other one I had, it was very, very similar, but it basically took out, I dropped one of the 15 down to 10 Stone Guard, and then added in the Twin Stones and the Rune of Petrification as well. Endless Spells, so that was the one where you can basically put it anywhere and they suffer mortal wounds if they move towards it.
Yeah.
I was like, that might work, but I think having an extra 5 Stone Guard, 5 Stone Guards for 100 points is quite a bit, but when you actually put them in your Metrica with all the buffs, then they become kind of understandably pretty solid. But yeah, those were the 2 lists that I had. I did try the right one with like triple Spirit of the Mountain, but you run out of points so quickly.
Yeah,
it's like over 1,000 points just for that. It was if I tried the Stoneheart King and 3 mountains, I think it was like 1,600 points. What's it? 1,300 points. And then I was like, I've not really got much else to do.
No, I think the problem is they are just that little bit too slow, aren't they?
Yes. If they were movement 8, I think they'd be alright, but movement 6 is a bit like...
Yeah.
It's going to take a couple of turns to get where they want to, so... no, those were the lists I put in, so it's nice to see that we're kind of on the same list for your Metrica. It's like, I did think about adding in some quicker units, but... it is what it is. I still don't understand why Lumineth can ally with Ideneth, but Ideneth can't ally with Lumineth.
Yeah, we expected to see that will come the GHB, and I can't see it coming up in the FAQ because it's been printed at the same time. It would have been sent to the printers around the same time. So
yeah, the weird thing is, no one can actually ally it in Lumineth Realmlord, apart from Stormcast.
Can Stormcast take them?
Stormcast can, yeah, that's what I mean, apart from them, because they can just ally in any order unit. But no one else can. Not even cities or...
Which is odd because you can't put Stormcast in Realm Lords,
No.
but so you can Deepkin in Realm Lords, but not Realm Lords in Deepkin. You can put Realm Lords in Stormcast, but not Stormcast. Yeah, there's some odd things going on, to say the least.
It's almost as if, like, they had all of this sorted, and then they just added in a row for Lumineth Realm Lords and just went, oh yeah, I don't know if that'll do. Like in the GHB I'm on about. So whether that gets an FAQ, I don't know.
I find it odd that just looking at it there, Deepkin can ally with Darkling Covens, Eldritch Council, Order Serpentis, Gouge Barivites. Aren't they all of those in cities now?
Well, Eldritch Council doesn't even exist anymore because that used to be the Lawmaster and the Dragon Wizards and stuff.
So how do I ally with something that doesn't exist?
It's literally a copy and paste from previous years.
Perhaps it will be an FAQ then. Maybe it will be an FAQ. Maybe they just forgot to update that.
Yeah. So interestingly, they've got like the Legends profiles at the back, which have lots of different kind of like Tomb Kings are in it, and all of the Tamakan, the Maggot Lords, some of the older Forge World models, and some of the what they call Gitmob grots, and interestingly, somewhere, I'm trying to find them now, in the middle of Tomb Kings, I think it is, the Guardian of Souls of the Mortality Glass.
Yeah, I saw it gone into there.
But there is a little note saying that Legends can't be used in match play, so a shame. There goes my plan of taking Bretonians to the Northern Masters.
Yeah, I'm sure if you ask, they'll let you.
No, the fact that I kind of said, like, if they were still in as a normal army in this version, I would have done an army for them, but I'm not doing it just for one thing. But yeah, in the order section there is all of the Eldritch Council models. So is there actually? I'm trying to look. Yeah, there is. Yeah, Lawmaster and things like that. So yeah, it's a bit weird that that's still listed as a allied unit, but I'm sure it will get taken out, and I was going to say I'm sure Lumineth got added in, but I'm not entirely too sure. But it is what it is.
Hopefully they'll FAQ it.
Yes.
Oh, okay then. So it's going to take a long time for me to talk about hobby. I've done nothing.
Oh god, it's almost like we're a hobby podcast.
I know.
No, you have been quite busy with work, haven't you? So
unfortunately, so it's all gone a little bit mad. But no, unfortunately, I haven't done any hobby. I got a second box of the Lumineth that came with the GHB.
Excellent.
And I haven't even taken it out of the box. And I'm not even talking about the Lumineth box. I haven't even taken it out of the box that it came in. So yeah, there's that, and I've got some mad plans for a one-drop Gits army, but I don't know whether that'll happen or not.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Oh, is that the? Yeah, I know the one you're on about.
Yeah.
It's not Squiggle Lunch. Don't worry, guys.
No, you can't do one-drop Squiggle Lunch, can you?
Yeah, you can. That's the whole point of a Squiggle Lunch. And it's not a very good Squiggle Lunch because you still need to add a couple of bits in, but. No, actually, no, you can. What am I on about? Of course you can. Yeah, you can go one drop Squig Lunch if you wanted to.
What hobby have you done, Chalmers?
Oh, God, right, okay. So I've actually had a week to myself. I shipped off my little one in a UPS box to my grandparents. Not my grandparents.
Don't try that at home.
Yeah, no.
Don't try that at home, people. People that complain about these things.
Now, after the kind of rules about family can look after... can help with childcare and that, my parents offered to look after Ben for a week, which was nice. So he went there for a week to actually have a week, and rather than me just work child free for a week, I took a week off to do hobby. So I've done quite a lot. I had this grand vision of doing 4 armies in 1 week. Didn't happen. I was actually quite enjoying just taking my time painting rather than trying to rush it all through. But I finished my Iron Jaws army. Way!
Well done.
I decided to paint lava in the whole entire cracks of a Maw Crusher, which took 2 days. That was fun.
Definitely looks worth it, though. It looks fantastic.
Yeah, thank you. I am really happy with that actually. I got halfway through it and looked at it and went, I don't think I like this. But then when I actually did the rest of it and did all the skin as well underneath the model, it was yeah, definitely worthwhile. So no, I'm really happy with that. So yeah, I've got all my iron jaws done, which is nice. We've actually officially launched the Tales of Sigmar YouTube channel, and I've done a couple of painting videos for that. So the videos are more aimed at not beginners, well, partly beginners, but they're more kind of speed painting, easy to use. They're not like Golden Demon standard painting videos, mainly because I can't paint to a Golden Demon standard, so the videos would be awful. But no, they're kind of nice, easy videos to do, to follow, to paint up. So I've done how to speed paint Nurgle Plague Bearers, using like the scheme that I've done on my Nurgle army. So after that, I actually found about 900 points of Nurgle just on the shelf on sprues. So I painted up another 30 Plague Bearers and what's he called, Horticulous Slimex and a Lord of Blights and 6 bases of Nurgling. So that's quite nice. It's just like for whenever we get to do the battle reports that we're going to be doing on the YouTube channel.
Yep.
It's just another army and another selection of models to do. I'm trying to think what else I've done. I'm sure I've done more and I just cannot think.
You've done your Mortec Guard?
I've been painting 20 Mortec Guard, and I've almost finished them, so that's quite nice as well. It's nice to make a start on the Bone Reapers, and I know I kind of talked many episodes ago how I was going to do them as the best painted models I can, but they literally sat on a shelf for ages because I just couldn't find that motivation to try and do it to that standard. So I'm actually kind of like dry brushing up the bone and then doing all the details nicely, so it'll be a nice tabletop army, but it would just be nice to get them all painted and done, so that's quite nice. And I've built a load of Nighthaunt characters that I've had sat on my shelf since Nighthaunt launched 2 years ago, so it's about time I got them done. So I've done Kurdos, the Craven King, 2 Dreadblade Harrows, Rykenald, the Grimhauler or whatever he is, the big winged beast.
Yep.
Dude. Try to think what else it was. I think that's about it.
That's literally all the things I don't have.
Yeah.
Did you go do that? I was like, oh, yeah.
I bought them all like at launch when I did all my Nighthaunt, and they were the ones that just sat on a shelf. So I tidied up the man cave as well and threw out like loads of old stuff that I just didn't touch, or like literally I had boxes just with like 1 or 2 bits on a sprue. I was just like, what am I doing? Just get rid of it all. So it's quite nice not having any AOS launchers at the minute, because it means I'm just painting what I've got rather than going out and buying new armies.
Yep.
I was looking at a Fire Slayer army, but I just can't bring myself to A, paint it, B, play it, because I just don't think it's a very fun army to do. And I keep looking at Slanesh again, but I just don't know. I just want to paint a Keeper of Secrets. I might just buy a Keeper of Secrets to paint up, but
I think Slanesh, it's kind of been slightly overlooked. I think a lot of people just look at it and go, oh no, they don't work anymore. It says, but I still think there's quite a bit of.
The issue is they got more points increases in the GHB, which everyone kind of went, well, they weren't exactly needed. They were kind of pointed quite correctly after the last increase and the changes to depravity, so to then get another increase in points is
doesn't help.
But
there weren't a lot of increases, were there, from memory?
There weren't a lot of increases, but it was on the stuff that quite a lot of people took. I'm just trying to find it. I just cannot actually find it. You'd think it would be under I know it's Head Knights of Slanesh, isn't it? There it is.
Yeah.
So Demonettes lost their Horde bonus. The Contorted Epitome went up. Fiends went down. Keeper of Secrets was 380. I'm not too sure if that was the December change or the.
No, I'm pretty sure Keeper of Secrets and Shalaxi have gone up.
Right. So yeah, there's been a few increases here and there. So, I mean, I might do another list for it and see. It's quite nice. I do want to have a variety of armies to have for when we do battle reports.
Yeah.
We can start recording. And having things like that. I mean, we are going to try and focus on like more competitive based battle reports. So I think having a Slaanesh army for people to use is probably a worthwhile thing. But I think that's about it for my hobby. Like I say, it's been quite nice doing the YouTube channel as well. So if people do want to give it a like and a subscribe, then please just search for Tales of Sigmar on YouTube and it will pop up. I'm going to be doing a speed paint Flesh Eater Crypt Ghoul this week, he says. I should be able to. And I don't know whether to do Horrors of Tzeentch after that or do something bigger. I was considering Catacross, but that might be a little bit of a bigger project to do. And especially for recording on how to paint it. But yeah, I've been quite busy after many months of kind of not really doing much. I seem to have got back onto it, and it's, like I said, having a week off and actually just literally being in the man cave for a week was quite nice as well.
Yeah, and I think it's good when you get that sudden impetus of go, and you get back on it, and then all of a sudden, like, gets all the juices flowing again. I'm hoping once work calms down, I can crack back on with my Lumineth at least.
Yeah. So test models you did were really nice, so getting them up kind of finished, and then hopefully by then the next batch of models will be out, so you can add to the army. You're not just playing with proxies all the time. So yeah, no, it should be nice, but that's about it. So unless you've got anything else you want to chat about before we get out of here?
No, I'm looking forward to. I know there's a fair few tournaments that are starting to crop up, so I'm looking forward to hopefully trying to get to one or two and seeing where the meta is. Where is this meta at the moment? And I'm not really sure anybody really knows, so it's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see what does happen, but I'm sure things like Seraphon and that'll be up there. I don't think Lumineth will be at the minute, just because they've not got half the models, so unless people really want to take a Light of Alfarion with just loads and loads of Wardens and
Dawn Riders and yeah.
But yeah, 2,000 points of that is quite a lot, so no, I'm sure it will be fine. But until next time, like I said, we will be back with a episode covering all of the points winners and losers once the FAQ drops. But if they want to catch you on Twitter and Instagram, you are
at Martin Swaffield,
and I'm at Tales of War Games. And like I said, we've got the YouTube channel, so check that out. But until then, take it easy and we'll see you soon.
Good night.